Okay, and we're now live for the GEG Asia Pacific Connect YouTube Live for Filipino language. Good evening, everybody. Good morning for the others who are in the different countries. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Adrian Luke Cruz. I'm the GEG South Manila leader, GEG for Parañaque, Las Piñas, and Muntinlupa. And I'm also a Google certified innovator and an educational technology coach. Now, I'd like to welcome everybody to the YouTube Live event by the GEG Asia Pacific Connect. Now, as part of a larger community called GEG APAC Connect, a simultaneous online gathering of educators from different countries in 9 separate languages will happen today. So this event aims to strengthen the skills and relationships of educators locally and internationally. So just feel free to join, watch, and add comments in the chat box below. So this G Suite online live in Tagalog is hosted by the GEG South Manila and also in collaboration with the Google certified innovators from Southeast Asia 19 or SEA 19. So you can also use the hashtag GEG Asia Live when you post in your social media accounts. Now, what is GEG? For the others who just heard about it, um, a Google Educator Groups or GEG is a community. It's set up by Google because they believe that the best inspiration to educators are other educators. So Google helped start a community of passionate educators who bring the benefits of technology to schools, classrooms, and communities across the world. So what Google wants is to help change mindsets so that innovation can take place. Classrooms can transform into Google playgrounds, and learning outcomes can improve. Now, here in the Philippines, there are 18 officially recognized GEG in the Philippines. So, what you have to do is to just check the available GEGs in the GEG directory. Later on, I'll be giving you the links on how to check the nearest GEG. Now, for GEGs or Google Educator Groups, the activities can take place in both online and offline. So we can talk about different educational technology strategies, different techniques, different practices. So we can also explore different event types. So it could be trying an online event just like this, or even becoming a Google Educator or Google Certified Educators. The teachers and the community of GEG can help you out in building your journey towards certifications. Okay, so for today, three of the most passionate educators of Google Certified Innovator Academy from Southeast Asia 2019 will join us as they share their favorite Google tools. So, for the first presenter, I'd like to introduce Stephanie Rothstein from California. She's a high school English teacher. Okay. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Adrian. Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and get started.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so I am going to get started. You're getting a little preview there.
Okay.
Okay.
Sharing your screen. Mhm.
Can you see it okay, Adrian, before I start?
Okay. It's working.
Okay. All right. So, hi, my name is Stephanie Rothstein. I am a TOSA in the U.S. that stands for Teacher on Special Assignment, and I help with instructional technology at the high school where I teach in Los Gatos, California. I also chair a department that is a project-based learning department. That's a cross-curricular pathway, and I teach the English classes within that pathway, and the pathways for grades 9 through 12. Today I'm going to talk to you about getting organized in Google Drive, and this is a presentation that I give to both my staff and students. So if it helps you personally, great. If it's something that you'd want to present with other people at your school, you are more than welcome to use it. I'll give the link at the end. Okay, so for every minute spent in organizing, an hour is earned. This is sometimes how I feel when being asked to organize things, or my students feel. And so I'm here to help give you a process to help you through it. When I refer to Google Drive and all the things that we can save in there, you can really save pretty much anything in Google Drive that's digital. But I'm going to focus on slides, sheets, forms, and docs for today, because that's what I'll be able to show you how to organize even easier. Okay, here are my live-bys, and these are the 4 rules that'll guide the rest of this presentation. The first is everything has to have a home. The second is everything has to have a name. The third is you have to have an order and a priority, a way to prioritize. And the fourth is you repeat the process. And I do this and I say this with my staff and with students over and over and over again. Okay, so the first, no homeless files. Okay, so when you're organizing your files, you'll want to use folders. And I would say folders, I tell my students and they laugh at me all the time, but folders change your life. So we talk kind of about the matrix of folders in my class, that it's folders within folders within folders. So when I organize mine, and I'm going to show you how to do it, I use all of these as my headings for my folders. So the first is year, then class, then semester, units, files, and numbers. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so this GIF here is showing you how it's guiding you through, so you could refer to it if you need to later as well. The first is the year. So here we're setting up the year as a folder. And then if you don't know how to make a new folder, you go here to new folder. And the next step is to put down the class. The step after the class, I set it up. I tell my students to make sure that they've set up each of their classes, or if you're a teacher and you teach multiple classes. So I set mine up the same way that my students do so that they can follow. So then within each class, the next step is going to be to set up your semesters that you teach, or for students, the semesters that they're taking the courses. And this allows for easy search. If you're trying to search later for a particular folder, everything is formatted in the same way. Once you've completed your semesters, then within that, you'll want to set up each of the units that you teach. And so for right now, I'm just putting down Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4. But in my actual class, I have other names for those. And then after that, we need to make sure that all the files that you have, every doc, every slide, every sheet has a name. So I'm going to show you now how to actually give them a name that's formatted in the way that will help you be better organized. So when you're naming your documents, I have a particular order, and I tell my students this exact same order. So you have a number, then the unit, then you have the document name, and then you put down your initials. That is specific to students especially, but even myself as the teacher, I like to model it for my students. And the reason I have them do this, and so you'll see we're taking them through you through it here, is when you put a number at the start, it helps you to have a natural organization for things that are within all of your folders. And so in Google Drive, it automatically organizes by name in alphabetical order. And so you'll see here, I'm putting in a number and I'm putting in number 4 so that you can see when I put number 3, how it then organizes it in numerical order for you. And then the benefit to doing this, I do it by the way that I teach the course, so it guides us through, and then students know, okay, that's called this number. If I'm missing something, I know what I'm missing. Okay, in terms of organization and prioritization, I use color very sparingly, and I advise my students to do so. I really only use one, and I only color code the folder that I'm using right now, and that's it, because otherwise it becomes overwhelming. Okay, the key to all of this is to have a regular day when you are repeating this over and over. So in my classes, we do what's called Friday folder fun. And saying it out loud, it sounds funny. But Friday folder fun days are the days, every time we meet on a Friday, I give my students 10 to 15 minutes to organize their folders within Google Drive. And I set it up as something that we regularly do. They get used to deleting things that don't have names, or adding in file names, or seeing if they have any untitled documents and double checking that everything is there. Okay, the last tip I'm going to give for today is a way to organize within a Google Doc itself. I use this all the time. Everyone on my staff uses it. We now use it. We have a leadership team called Curriculum Council that I sit on, and we use it for all of our meeting notes. When my students work together with longer documents, or even when they're writing papers, I have them do this. It can also be used within slides. Okay, so this is about using table of contents feature to help you organize. So what you'll see is I'm using the heading feature, and you can alter a heading. You can assign a heading to make it remain the font that you like. So you can update it, and then you can assign the remaining things. You can apply that particular heading to other places in your document. Once you've applied a header, then you'll see, so I've applied it. This is a student's paper or a group's work in my class. And once you've applied that, then I'm making a page break at the top to set up a space for a table of contents. And then you go and you insert a table of contents. You insert it with hyperlinks. You can reformat this, so I can move it here to the side. And then when I click on each of these links, it's going to take me to that particular place within the document. So I'll show you that right now. Okay, so it's going to take you to all of those places within the document. My staff finds this so useful, especially as we're doing notes for meetings, because then you just have one page at the front or at the top, and people can click on it to know which meeting you're in. You can put it in whatever order that you like, and it will continue to then be able to be something that you can link to. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go back to this one last screen. If I will present this again, and then I'll stop sharing. If you would like to use this presentation, you are more than welcome to. You can also tweet me or email me. This is my blog, but if you want to use this presentation, you are more than welcome to make a copy of it. I have it here at bit.ly/GEG organize, and you are more than welcome to use it. Thank you. So I'll go back and see if there are any questions. And here we go. Okay. Yay. Hi, Adrian. Hi, everyone. I didn't know, one thing I was thinking was just to maybe in my last minute or two, tell you some of the ways that I utilize this within my classroom and some stories around that. And if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer those. So for me, organization and helping students organize and helping my staff organize has honestly been life-changing at my school. I find in teaching grade 9 that students, it's just like having students who have a messy backpack, right? When we were using paper and they would take paper out and it was all crumbled at the bottom of their backpack. And I find students, as we moved into a digital world, are the same way. They have a messy backpack, but it's a messy Google Drive. And so for me, they need a way to organize it, just like giving them a binder with tabs in it. They need an organizational system. And to be honest, our teachers do too. And so if we as a staff, yes, when I work with my team at school, I actually run this presentation as a workshop, and I give them time to actually be organizing within their Google Drive folders. I saw that there was a great question about taking advantage of organizing folders automatically in Google Classroom. And maybe when Adrian gets there, he can talk about that. He'll be talking about Google Classroom. My school, unfortunately, doesn't use Google Classroom. So I'm very upset about it. I can't say I'm upset about it in school, but I can say it to you live on this live stream. So for me, I had to come up with my own system. But yes, if you have a way that it automatically organizes, that's super helpful. But I do think that we need a consistent way to help students know how to organize. So if we model it, they'll do it. And then a consistent way that we name our documents so that everything is easily found and easily searchable. I hope that helped everybody.
Oh, Steph.
Yes.
Stephanie. Okay, there's a pop-up question from Ben Heyman. If you use Google Classroom, how would you take advantage of the folders created automatically? Oh, that's for me later.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but there's a lot for Google Classroom. There's another one from Adriana. Hello. In Google Classroom are the folders named according to the assignment set. So later on, I'll be discussing about the Google Classroom. So maybe stay tuned. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Perfect. So maybe that's a good preview.
Thank you, Courtney, a while ago for signaling me. Okay, thank you. Stephanie, thank you very much. Um, we'll go on with the next innovator speaker. She's actually a teacher from International School, Manila, and she's also a new innovator. She is Courtney Paul. Yay! Okay. Hi, Courtney. None?
It's Judy first.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Judy first. Okay. Oh,
Hello,
there. Hi,
everyone.
Judy. Okay.
I don't mind doing
Um,
the last one, but
sorry
Courtney,
for
thank
that.
you very much for
We're
reminding.
gonna
Thank you.
Judy Kim from uh, Korea.
Should I introduce myself or? Hello, everyone. Very nice meeting you, especially hello, South Manila GG. And also hello, everyone, just being with us today. My name is Judy Kim, and I just became a Google Certified Innovator with Stephanie, Courtney, and Adrian. I am very happy to be part of this huge project for South Asian Pacific area for Google Educators Group. And today I'd like to talk to you about Google Slides. So before I get started, let me just share the screen so everybody can see my screen. Hello, Songa. Hello, thank you for joining us. Hello. I share the slide, Adrian.
Okay. Activate your screen, Judy.
Yes, I activated my screen.
Can you try one more time? Oh, there.
Okay.
Okay, it's here. There.
All right. Should I get started?
Okay.
Okay, so I have 12 minutes. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so once again, hello everyone. I'm Judy Kim. And today I'm going to share how I utilize Google Slides for my presentation. But before I get started, let me start with the one question. Have you ever tried Google Slides for your presentation? If you have, please type yes. Okay, thank you. Well, so Google Slides for presentation, some of you probably not yet, then maybe now is the time we're going to use Google Slides for presentation. If you want to create a Google slide, then there are several ways to do it, but one of my favorite way, the easiest way is just type in Drive, google.com, and go to Google Drive and click New and try to locate the Google slide. Then you can create blank Google slide, or you can choose one of the slides from the template. So you can create the slide from the template. If you haven't tried Google Slide yet, and I recommend you to start with a template because it's already done. And then also there's a theme and everything is already set up. So maybe you can actually easily start to kick off the Google Slides. Now, since you have a Google Slide template, that's not yours, so you need to make your own presentation. There are 4 settings I want to actually go over with you to make your own slides. The first one is the background, and second one is the layout. Third one is a theme, and the last one is a transition. Now, so let's see if we already been to Google Drive, and then we try to locate the Google, where the Google slide is, and then we chose one of the template, and actually I chose the science fair. Now, so I actually prepared the practice, hands-on practice with you. So we're gonna go one by one together. So once you just choose one of the templates, then you might see these 4 options. The first one is background, as I say, layout, theme, and transition. If you haven't clicked yet, let us click together. Background, then you will see the conversation box, right? It says you can change the color and you can even choose the image. I just typed the GEG. Okay, then I can select the image and done. Then we can add the image too. Okay, it takes a little bit of time, but we can add the image too. And then let me just click background once again. Now, if we just to choose the color, I'm going to change it to red. Then when I click done, only the current slide change it to red, and not all of them. But if you go back to background again, and then you just click add to theme and done, then you can see that all the colors change at the same time. So now way to red, right? So I'm going to click undo and undo to go back. So layout, what is the option for the layout? You can change the color of the background. You can just choose the image for the background, and then you can add all the background color for the same theme or same color or same image to all the slides. Now to move on to the next one, I'm gonna just click theme first. Now theme, if you just click theme, you can see some of the example slides on your right? So if you like one of the theme here, of course, if you are very creative, you want to make your own, why not? You can add a blank slide, and then you can add some of the boxes or images you can create on. But if this is first time for you to browse, then probably I recommend you to just choose one of the theme from the theme box. Why? Because the font or background, everything is just kind of corresponding to the theme. So you don't really need to change much, right? So you don't want to spend like 10 hours creating images and then just kind of you have a half an hour to add the contents. That's not very good presentation contents, right? So I recommend you to choose one of the theme here. Now, then move on to layout. If you want to add some contents to your presentation, depends on what kind of content you add, you can choose the layout from here, whether you want to just add some topics or even text or images and some of the captions, or whether you want to just have a topic and images. I recommend you to choose layout. Why? Because The font is already chosen there and size is already fit into the box, so you don't need to actually change much about it. So this is the layout. Once you choose the theme, then you can click the layout, depends on the content you add. Now, if you chose your theme and then the background and layout is done, then maybe it's time for us to click transition. Now the transition, what does transition mean? Well, what transition does is actually when you move one slide to the next, then whether it just flows the one slide to the next smoothly and more like a professionally, then you can probably add the transition. Okay, now I'm going to add, I'm going to click the slide. I want to add the transition. Now, as you can see, it says no transition because I didn't add anything, right? So if I don't have any transition, if I present this slide, it just moves to the next without any exciting effect, right? But if I want to add a transition, I just click the slide, and then this time I'm gonna choose flip, and then make it a little slower, and then I'm going to play it. So it's gonna flip from the first to the next. So once I just add the transition, you can see the little icon next to it, right? And then if you think that this is cool, then you can just add all these transitions to all slides. But if you think that is a little boring, takes too much time, then probably you can just add a different transition for different slides. So these are the 4 settings that you can start with to create your own presentation. The next one is a content, right? So the content part, now I'm going to click the empty slide. Now, so if I want to just add the content, we need to check what kind of content we can add, right? So we can insert image, and then the image comes from your PC. You can upload it from your PC, or you can actually just upload it from your drive, or you can just take a picture from your Chromebook, or you can just search in a website, and then you can add it too. And one of the fascinating parts is you can actually add the video. You can search it, or you can add it from your Google Drive. And besides those two, you can add the shapes for the picture or text. You can create a table and you can add it. You can create various charts and even just add the link and slide numbers too. So I think that this slide is a little frozen. So we're going to just start from here. So I'm going to add the blank slide, any slide. I have a lot of actually. And then I want to add, insert the image. Okay, then you can click from your drive, or you can just click and then add it from your computer. Video too. You can search and you can add it from your Google Drive or from YouTube too. So to make your presentation more interesting and fascinating, why not we are adding some of the resources available in the website, right? Now, so we are running out of time, so I'm going to make it a little quicker. Now, one of the most fascinating features of Google Slides, Docs, and Google G Suite tools is collaboration, right? So you made this, but sometimes, just like today, Adrian, Courtney, Stephanie, and myself, we just work together. And then sometimes we can make like one slide together we can share. Then you have the share button, click it. And then whether you can just share the link, but depending on the authority you give, whether you're going to let those people add it or just to leave a comment or just to review it. Or if you know that person's specific email address, you can just add to collaborate and work together. So that's about the Google slide. And then next function, I think it's kind of fascinating is make a GIF, make a GIF. So today I had actually the little training session. So between the training session, I created this. It took me like less than 3 minutes. I just chose the background and select the image. And then I move little by little. And then after that, I hit the button says publish to the the web, then it gives me the link like this. Then I can embed it to my website, and people come and see and watch it. About for more details, so we're running out of time, but I'm going to just share all this slide with you, so you can just click and then follow up the instruction. So once again, thank you for joining us. And then tool is tool. So mindset is very important, right? If you have a further question or if you want to contact me, here's the info too. I'm going to share this slide with you. All of you through the Google GEG South Manila through the leader. So Adrian, right? We can share this one with everyone participate today, right? Okay, so that's
Thank
it
you
for
very
today.
much,
Thank you very
Judy.
much. Yes.
Do we have
So
any questions from the audience?
uh,
Any?
any question? So hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Hi, Tessan. Hello. So I think a lot of people ask about flip classroom tutorial.
Mm-hmm. We have
Anybody has
16
questions? Mm-hmm.
participants, 16 people watching. Hello, everybody from the Philippines. Magandang gabi
So
in
anybody has
Tagalog.
questions specifically about the Google Slides? For example, somebody earlier asked me whether, Judy, can I just add like, the music or MP3 sounds? Not yet. We can actually add the MP4. So what I usually do is I just download the video, or I can just add like the video clip from YouTube, and then I can just click it, and then they can actually see the image, but they can also hear the sound coming from the YouTube. That's what I do to substitute adding just MP3 file. That's one of the tips. Okay.
Okay.
So Adrian,
Thank
you invited Stephanie or me? Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. So that's it. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. So once
Thank you
again,
very much, Judy.
yes, thank you.
Okay. For our next presenter, okay, for our next presenter, I'm sorry, a while ago, she's a teacher from International School Manila and was also recently graduated from the Google Certified Innovator Academy in Singapore. I'd like to reintroduce again Courtney Paul. Yay! Here.
Hi,
Courtney?
everybody. Can you hear me, Adrian? Yeah?
Yep,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Courtney. As
So,
Adrian said, yeah, sorry. As Adrian said, I'm a grade 7 math teacher at the International School Manila. I originally came from Boston, Massachusetts, in the East Coast, and I've been living in Manila for 2 years now. Uh, I'm going to move on with what Judy had said about Google Slides, and I'm going to add another piece to Google Slides and what you can do to your slides. So give me a second to share my screen, and I will. Adrian, I don't know if my screen is sharing. Oh, thank you.
okay,
Share.
putting on your screen. Okay,
Perfect.
and okay, there.
Thanks, Adrian. All right. So Google Slides is a great way for you to deliver content in your classroom to your students. But generally, while your students are watching you present using Google Slides, they're just sitting there not doing anything. So Pear Deck has come in, and Pear Deck is a Google add-on that takes your existing Google Slides, so you're not creating anything new, and adds interactive questions for your students to use while you are presenting. It's been a really game changer in my classroom, and I hope you can add it to your classroom. Pear Deck is a freemium, I call it, feature. It does come with some free features, and then you can upgrade and get some paid features as well. So it's a little bit of both, but you can do most everything with the free version. All right, so I'm going to start by adding just how to add Pear Deck. If you are in your Google Slides, make this bigger, and add-ons and get add-ons, it's pretty easy to add anything. It shows up pretty quick for me, but if not, just type in Pear Deck and just install it for yourself. Once you've installed it on your computer, to activate it would just be going to the add-ons and opening Pear Deck. When you open Pear Deck, it'll show up on the right in the sidebar. So it's on the right side of your screen. And there's a lot of things you can do from here. Now this is taking any Google Slides that you've already used, so you can immediately do this tomorrow in your class. So there are templates, which are pretty great. They've got templates for all different kinds of things. Pear Deck also just teamed up with Google and the ISTE standards to create some really amazing digital citizenship courses. So if you're looking to embed that into your classroom, you don't have to create anything new. It's there for you. They're really great for all ages and all levels of students. But if you're looking to add to your current slides that you have, if you scroll down, there's 6 different types of questions that you can add into your current slides. So you can add a text box where students can answer questions. You can add a multiple choice question. You can add a number response. You could ask the kids, what year did this happen? How many do you think of this? And then you can also add website links. You can also embed YouTube videos, which is pretty great. So your kids can watch those on their own computers and works pretty easily. And those are all the free options. And then if you upgrade to the paid version, you can then have your students draw on the screen or also drag. I'm going to show you what some of those look like. If you have the chance to open your computer, you can interact with this. So if you want to open a website, I'll show you how to do it. It's pretty simple. So just show you quickly how to add some of these. So I could just add this one, and I want to add this as a text. So I would just click it. When you add a Pear Deck application to your slides, your current existing slides, it'll add a little bar to the bottom of your slide, and that's how you'll know down here. That's how you'll know that it's a Pear Deck embedded slide or an interactive slide, and it tells you what's going to happen. So students are going to write their response on this screen. And then if I wanted to add this one, I could add a multiple choice question. And when you add a multiple choice question, it lets you put as many let's see, elementary, middle, high. So I can just add those. And so when my students are going through this, they'll be able to see these different options and they'll get to choose. So how long have I been teaching? I could add a number question. This one's pretty cool because when the students do it, it'll give you a gauge of how long. And then my favorite is always the drawing slide. I love letting my kids draw, especially as a math teacher. It's been really great. We use it to graph equations. We use it to solve equations. Sometimes I just have them draw how they're feeling today. So it's pretty simple and easy. Once you've added to your slides, to present it to your students, you click this box up here. It's the present lesson. And it'll open a new screen. So I'll let it open its screen. Now, this is what you would project to your students. It's being a little slow tonight. All right. So this is what you'd project to your students. If anybody has a computer around and wants to log in, you go to joinpd.com. If anybody wants. And your students can just go there and they log in with this code. You do not have to have a Google account to do this. You don't have to be at a Google school to do this. So I'll just log in so you guys can see what it looks like. And so this would be what you would project. All right, So I'll go back to some of those slides. So if I were projecting this on for my classroom, my students would see this screen on their computer, and oh, it looks like we've got 3 people in our class today. That's fun. So the students would see this on their computer, and they would also see a little bit of a text box on the side, and it would give them a space to answer. And then as a teacher, now there is a teacher dashboard that I generally, as I'm presenting to my class, have open on my phone, which is peardeck.com/dash. And then from there, I can see what my students have written. I can see all of their responses, which is really great. But from here, I can show responses. And what you'll notice when I show responses is that there's no names attached. So I don't know who's answering these questions. They're totally anonymous. So it's really great in my classroom. We can talk about answers without anybody knowing who it is. And then no one's fear. I have a lot of students who English is not their first language, so they don't generally respond out loud in class. But this is a way that they've been able to be part of class without raising their hand and feeling that embarrassment of what if I say something wrong, or getting that uncomfortable feeling. So I'll put a different slide. This is the slide that asked you to multiple choice. So what level do you teach? And I could show responses, and as we can watch it as people are answering the question, it'll immediately change the responses on the screen. And once again, it's totally anonymous for my students, but from my perspective on the teacher dashboard, I can see which kids. So if a kid, maybe it's an actual question that has a right answer, I can go over to a specific kid and say, oh, hey, why aren't you answering it? Or what's going on? How come you put A? Sure about that answer? So it's definitely something where you can check in with the kids as they're going. Like, people are actively changing their responses. The next one is a number response, which is one of my favorite to use, especially in math class, to just kind of gauge where kids are at. You could use this as a 1 to 10, put in a 1 for I'm feeling terrible about this, 10 feeling I'm feeling great about this. Great in social studies. What year do you think this happened, to kind of gauge, or how many people, any of those types of questions are really great. So let's see what our responses look like. Yeah, so it shows you like an active, kind of graph as your kids are answering. 150 years someone's been teaching. Well, that's quite curious. So it just it's an active, and as people change their answer, the graph will change at the same time. And then my last and favorite type of question is a drawing slide. I love letting the kids, have that freedom to draw. There are all different types of things they can do on the drawing slide. There's also a text option. So kids could just type a response in there. Gives them a lot more space to show their thinking, draw pictures. It's like I said, it's my favorite. Sometimes I start class with this and just say, how are you feeling today? On a scale of 1 to 10, draw a picture, a smiley face, an emoji, just to get kids active and engaged in class. I'll see if we can see some of the drawing slides. There we go. So yeah, we can see some of the pictures. There are up here at the top, there's 3 different symbols. And so I can view all my responses in 3 different ways. I can view it as a list, which means we can see each one separately. I can view them as smaller screens, which means we can see them all a little bit smaller. And then this one becomes a little overwhelming when the kids are drawing, but you can overlay them and see them all at the exact same time, which could be important. Another thing that's really great that you can do from the teacher dashboard or from this screen is, if you want the kids to stop working, I can lock their screens. So now they can no longer type or text, and we can chat about something. I'm gonna fix this. I could also on the fly add a question. So someone wrote something, it sparked more thinking. I want to add a new question that I hadn't had in there before. So I can re-ask the same question. I can have the same question type, but ask a new type of question, or I can add a totally new question. So I could add a dragging to this one. So now let's just drag the dot. So it adds questions on the fly that you may or may not have thought of, and you're like, oh, I really want to do that, but now I can't do anything about it. Yeah, so you can see people actively moving their dot. So it's just another way to, in case you forgot something, which happens to all of us all the time. And when you're done, you can end your session. And when you end a session, thank you for everybody who logged in and is now playing with the dots. Okay, so when you end your session, I'll call this GEG. You can save it with a name, and then I can publish student takeaways. So when I save it with a name, what's really great is that I can go to paradeck.com and I can see all of my past sessions. I can pull it back up and say, oh, what did little Ben do, on Tuesday during that? And I can pull it back up. I can also reopen any ones that we may have not finished. And then if I publish student takeaways, if I have my students log in with their Google accounts and publish student takeaways, it'll send each kid an email with all of their responses per slide. So if you want your kids to see the work they did, you can click publish takeaways and it'll go out. Publish takeaways is a paid feature though. I'm going to add that in there. It is a really great paid feature. I love it. I share it with my students all the time. They can use it for homework. They can review it for an assessment, depending on where we're at. But it is a paid feature. So I'm going to save and I'm going to end this session. And it will end. I'm going to return to my Google slide. So like I said, I'm just going to present this. At any time, if you wanted to go back and access an old session, you can see them on paradeck.com. It's great. There's more templates in there. Paradeck also has flashcard factory, which is really great. And it's like a flashcard maker for your kids, if that's something you use often in your class. So that's been really great. All right. Might be some questions. In case I love Paradeck, in case you couldn't tell. I use it all the time with my students. It's been really a game changer to get some of my quieter kids talking in class. But if you have more questions about it, more than just this, I'm super active on Twitter and I post a lot about Paradeck on my Twitter. You can also send me emails. This is my email address at any time. All right, Adrian, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Adrian, I think you're muted. There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, thank you very much. But I'm not gonna pull you out on the screen. I'm gonna bring in Stephanie and Judy Kim while I'm presenting because I need to know if you can hear me. Okay. Um, I'll be discussing Google Classroom now. I'll just show my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Okay. Well, actually, with Google Classroom, I started using it way back in 2014 because I've been handling grade 9 students. And I've observed with them is that when they communicate, can you hear me? Okay. When they communicate with their teachers, they sometimes use Facebook and other social media accounts. And well, I think for other teachers who does that, I find it resourceful. But again, if you put your materials, your assignments, your reading materials in a Facebook group, um, it's hard to expect for your students to become, fully motivated or at 100% concentration with what you're giving because it's a social media account. Because even us, we also get distracted, right? When we use our Facebook or maybe Twitter accounts, you know. So that time, 2014, Google Classroom was kind of new. Around July, it was in the Philippines. It was launched around July 2014, and then the following month, August, I tried looking for a specific uh, tool or website wherein I can, put my students in a more. Um, can you hear me? Yeah, all good. Yeah. Okay. So I was trying to look for a platform where the students could really learn more. And even if we're using technology, we put them on the right platform. So I've used Google Classroom, and with Google Classroom, I find it really effective for my students. I'll try to share another one. I hope there's more time. I have 7 more minutes to demonstrate a Google Classroom. Um, when actually in the list of the Google for Education applications, you have to consider that the Google Classroom is a notch higher with compared to the other Google apps like Google Slides, Docs, or Sheets, because when you use a Google Classroom, you have to make sure the students and even the teachers have at least the basic knowledge about the use of basic knowledge about the basic tools, just like Google Docs and the others, because you'll be integrating all the other apps with Google Classroom. Otherwise, if you don't know anything about the other apps, you might think that Google Classroom would not be a good tool for you. So, 7:54, I have 6 more minutes to pull in my slide. Okay. Okay. Share. Okay. Now I'm sharing a Google Classroom site with everybody. So I'll bring you with one of my classroom, Earth and Life Science. Well, for the others who are listening, I think you already know how to create one, but I'd like to focus more on how you would want to implement a Google Classroom. This is one of my sample. Once you decide to put up a Google Classroom with your students or with your class, you have to make sure to uh, you have to like put set of rules for your students so that you guys will be aligned. This is the top result. Because if you just keep on creating assignments without saying anything to them, um, you'll get disappointed because they do not really know when to check the Google Classroom. So you have to make sure that when you start a Google Classroom, you have to put some rules. You have to put some like how many times you need to view your Google Classroom in a week. So for example, I have here my post greetings Gen Z. So I have here, this will be our online portal extended classroom for my subject. So this classroom will serve as your go-to resource place for all upcoming announcements, assignments, performance tasks, slide presentations, and modules. So you can actually customize this, but you really have to be very specific with what you really want what you really want your students to do with the classroom you're trying to set up. So even with the rules, you have to like set every Wednesdays or every Thursdays. You have to open your Google Classroom, and then you have to make sure that uh, you have to make it a habit in them. Because when once you decide to put up a Google Classroom, it doesn't it doesn't become effective once you say, hey, we have Google Classroom, just use it. So you have to make sure that it becomes a habit to them to check. Time, say every 7 o'clock.
I think Adrian, we hope everything's okay. We're awaiting Adrian to come back. Are you there, Adrian?
So, shall we just take up the questions about Google Classroom? Adrian, can you hear us?
I don't think you can hear us. Are there any questions?
Yeah, maybe three of us can take up the question. Any question about
Way to
Google
go,
Classroom?
innovators. Way to
Yes.
go.
Or if you have a question about how four of us really click together. Oh, Adrian's back. Okay. Oh, not yet. Or anybody has a question about Google Certified Innovator or
Yeah, we could let you know. Someone posted in the chat. We didn't respond to you. I think it was Sethi who did it, but there was a shout out SEA. Apparently, we should have said 19.
19.
That was one of our cheers that we did
Yeah.
at our summit.
I know someone earlier asked questions about using folders in Google Classroom.
Mhm.
So if you set up folders, if you have a Google Classroom,
Mhm.
then folders are automatically created in your student's drive and your drive as a teacher called
Correct.
Classroom based on it. So I think to go back to what you were talking about, Stephanie, is, and I know my students, it's just called Classroom, and then it's really unorganized because it doesn't make any sense. It just throws all their stuff in there. So I think going back to your Friday fun folders, folder fun
Mhm.
Friday,
Mhm.
even that folder would be super important to go back to and organize that because they have, I mean, my students, most of their stuff is done through Google Classroom. So I know it becomes like a mess of more stuff that no one can find. So adding that as a place to go would be super important to have your kids go back to that and also organize that. And the
So
same with their
sometimes,
parents. Yeah.
sure. Sometimes the students have like two different accounts, G Suite account, especially university students. They
Yes.
have a personal account, so they cannot locate the Google Classroom drive because they still log in with their personal account. So then usually in the classroom, the chaos happens. But that fun Friday, that Google Drive idea is really, really, really brilliant. I might use that. I might steal that idea. Thank you, Stephanie. Love you, love you.
Sorry, Sethi just asked a question
Yeah, I thought it was
about
Okay.
Classroom.
Mhm.
So welcome back. We just started taking questions to
Oh,
in case you aren't coming back.
we
I'm
tried to
sorry.
help you out, Adrian. What
The video. I'm not sure what part what
did it stop?
which part did you like? Yeah.
You were talking about making sure you're setting up dates to
Mhm.
check in with Classroom.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay. I was like, okay. I was disconnected for time, but okay. For Google Classroom,
Adrian,
once you
Adrian,
post,
Sethi asked a really good
or
question about
can
Google
you,
Classroom.
huh?
There's a
Cynthia,
really good
very good
question
question.
about Google Classroom. I'm curious your response. Sethi asked, do you prefer to copy a class or reuse posts after creating a new class? I'm curious your response to his. I know what I do.
Mm.
I reuse posts. It just makes a bigger mess
Mm.
with lots of copies.
Mhm.
I'd be curious.
For me, I actually haven't used the feature copy a class. I always reuse post as well.
Me too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Same here.
because yeah, flip classroom tutorials is right. It also becomes a mess when it
Yes.
comes to when having multiple copies. The other one is that uh, once you create an assignment in a Google Classroom, it automatically creates a folder in your Google Drive. So imagine that when you
Yeah.
open a Google Classroom, that's your front end. Now your back end would be your Google Drive. So even if you don't use or even if you don't open a Google Classroom, but you check your Google Drive because you can still access the files of the students. Because it automatically organizes the files of the students per assignment that you post. I think that's one of the question a while ago of Ben earlier. So I hope I was able to, answer it. Um, what else? For Google Classroom, it would take time for the teacher to get used to it, or even for the students. but just be consistent with the rules because you have to have that. Otherwise, you'll get disappointed with the students not following. And then the other one, it's habit forming. It also creates a discipline for the students as well. It's like a training for them as well. So, time check, it's 8:03. Um, I have a lot of things to share, but I think we don't have much time. So maybe just to
Mhm.
entertain somewhere, maybe just some announcements
Mhm.
before we end this
Mhm.
YouTube live event. Maybe you want to plug your accounts or events happening in your area.
Oh, you're muted. Courtney,
Again.
you're muted.
Sorry. I posted all of our Twitter handles in the live
Okay.
comments. So if
Thank
anybody
you
wants
so
to
much.
connect, I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys have, that's my best way of communication.
Same.
So please,
Yeah, if you want to connect with me, I would say for work purposes, I post all my stuff to Twitter,
Mhm.
and um, I also run a separate Twitter account that's connected to mine for the pathway that I chair. So if you're interested in learning more about project-based learning that's interdisciplinary, you're more than welcome to follow myself, but also the lead. It's lead underscore LG or lead LG1 Twitter. And so it's connected to mine. I'm happy to share those out. And then my blog, I post things there when I am not doing this.
Well, you can reach me at Twitter, and also I do Facebook, Instagram too. But my main actually interest is the bilingualism and dementia. So if any of you out there kind of like want to share the idea, more than welcome. And also my innovators project is about accessibility for especially for the visual they challenge the students. So also more than welcome to kind of like share the insights. I'll be looking forward to. Well, once again, thank you for joining us. I know it's very late in the Asia and also very early in San Francisco, but thank you so much for joining, and thank you very much for giving us this opportunity, Adrian. I really appreciate it, my brother.
Agreed. Agreed. And I would say, really, outside of my teaching and supporting in the classroom, um, really what I'm doing a lot right now has to do with this innovator group. And it's been motivating a lot of what I'm doing outside and helping other teachers, inspiring other teachers who might want to be a part of um, Google education in a variety of contexts. So now I find that we have more teachers at my own school who, when they hear what we've been able to do and connect and the relationships that we've built, but also kind of
Yeah.
it's really inspired a lot more to say, hey, maybe I could do that too. And that seems interesting. And so I think it's become something that's less of this scary, daunting, wow, whoever makes it into that. And it's more like there's a real life person in our area
Mm-hmm.
that can show them a path. And so it's, for me, that's been a piece where all of these people that I've kind of drooled over, fangirled over on Twitter and other places, I met in real life, and they're real people doing real things in real classrooms all around the world. And I think that for me has grounded me a lot and inspired me to want to do more. So thank you. Yeah. Wear your classroom always, I mean, wear your shirt always, Seti.
Yes. Today I'm just wearing the Google one.
yeah. Uh, Adriana asked, "Can you get a badge
Yeah.
for parents?" Yes,
Mhm.
you can be a Pear Deck inspirational ambassador and inspirational something, and then educator. Yeah, Pear Deck
Oh,
inspirational, and then there's also
very
a Pear Deck
nice.
coach.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Oh,
highly recommend. Everybody loves a good digital badge.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm back again. Any
Yay,
more
Adrian.
questions?
Welcome back. Welcome
Uh-huh.
back.
Yeah, I know it. Because I'm sorry, here in the Philippines, it's quite a problem. But um, for mine, you can follow me at Adrian Lacruz or Look Beyond the Classroom. Um, if you also want, or if you're interested also in creating your own local content for videos, you can also message me on that. What else? time check, it's 8:07. We'd really love to entertain more questions, but I think um, we really need to end the event. But this is
Mm,
just
Yes.
a start. Yeah, this is just a beginning.
Do it
We
again.
might, yes,
Let's for sure
we
do it
might
again.
come up with another one soon, hopefully,
oh
or
yeah,
maybe to have another segment for the
Yes.
Google Certified Innovators.
yeah.
SEA, yeah,
19.
19. Bye,
Oh, we
guys.
19.
didn't get to say hi
Yeah,
to Eileen. I saw that she was on
yeah.
here.
Oh, Eileen.
Hi,
I leave
everyone.
earlier. Bye,
Okay,
guys. Thank you.
so bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank
Bye.
you very
Thank
Bye,
you
much.
very much.
everyone.
Bye
Thank you.
bye. Love you guys. Love you. Bye bye.
Don't